This is the best show on television. Let's not even wait anymore to talk about this. Here are my immediate thoughts on season 1, episode 8 of The Penguin. Hey everyone, this is Lenny here. So we're just going to get into the season finale, or maybe the series finale, I'm not sure, of The Penguin. This is episode 8. This was titled A Great or Little Thing. And this was just amazing television. Man, this was like an hour of 4 minutes of just brilliant television, brilliant acting, brilliant cinematography, brilliant music, just all around. This is one of the biggest surprises of the year. The Penguin is definitely going down as one of the best shows. This is one of the best seasons of television that I have ever witnessed. So let's just go. Previously on The Penguin, Sofia Falcone, or Sofia Gigante, went absolute scorched earth. She planted a bomb in the underground trolley bunker where Oz is doing all of his drugs and everything with the bliss mushrooms. She blew all of that up, and she has Frances, Oz's mom, hostage. We are getting into some big time things as we barrel towards the finale. And just as a reminder, this is a spoiler review and recap. So unless you have already seen episode 8 of The Penguin, I suggest for you to go watch that and come back here because, ooh, child, we got a lot of shit to talk about. So we start with a flashback of Oz's mom and Oz when he was a young child. We're going back to that moment where Oz's mom, where Frances, decided that she was going to take Oz to that jazz club and they were going to have that big heart-to-heart, and Oz was going to promise, how he was going to treat her and give her everything she wants and needs and deserves and everything like that. But things were a little different because we were actually seeing things from Deirdre O'Connor's perspective, from Oz's mom as she currently is. And then we start to realize that she is actually in the middle of hypnosis. And we see Dr. Rush, played by Thea Rossi, and Sofia, played by Cristin Milioti. They got that, what I call the kit light from Knight Rider. They got that going, and they're hypnotizing Oz's mother. And she is reliving that experience and that night. And I did like the choice of the flashback being told from old Oz's mom's perspective, from Deirdre O'Connor's perspective. That way we got to see how she, as her current self, got to sit in the memory and the decisions that she's made. And it's just a great acting performance from Deirdre O'Connor as we see her go through everything, all of these painful memories. Her speaking with Rex Calabrese, that gangster that Oz looked up to, and having that conversation. She pulls out a flashlight and she's like, I knew that Oz killed my kids. I know the police had to pry the steel door open at the sewer to get those boys out. He acted like there was nothing going on. If I knew what was happening, I would have gone after them. I would have searched for them. But he acted like there was nothing. My son is the devil. So Rex Calabrese is like, well, there's a couple ways you can go with this. With Oz, someone like him, he could be useful, especially in my line of work. Normally, people that come to me, they want money, and greed is fine. But I'm looking for people that want a father figure. But Oz does not need that. He has you. You can manipulate him. He wants to do everything for you. You can use that to get Oz up in the chain of command in the crime world. And Fran is just having a hard time just wrestling with having to turn the other way and having to be the one to build Oz up, despite the fact that he has done these horrible things. But then Rex Calabrese gives Fran the other option that, you can just let him go. And we all know what that means. And that completely recontextualizes that trip that Oz's mom and Oz went to the jazz club for. We think that she was doing it to make Oz feel good. She was doing it to make herself feel good. But really, the plan was for her to take him to the jazz club and have Rex Calabrese murder her son. That was the plan. And it just reshapes everything that we thought we knew about Frances Cobb. At the beginning of the season, when she's like talking down to him and she's saying things like, if my son's nothing, then what am I? It looked like that she was just being a cruel, cold mother. But no, we see that there was a real substantial rift between Oz and his mother. So the crime families, the triads, and everyone, and they're supposed to help Oz out, but you know, Sofia has got this big explosion and no one can get to the area, and all the crime families are like, look, Oz is on his own, all the drugs are destroyed, he's probably dead, there's police all over the place, there's all this heat, we're done, we don't want anything to do with this. And Vic just loses it at this point, and he stands up for Oz and he's like, what are you guys doing? Oz needs our help. Are you really going to let the Gigantes and the Maronis run this city? We got to do something about it. Link, the underboss from the Triads, punches Vic in the gut and is like, look, man, you need to know your place or you're going to get a bullet in your head. At first, it looks like that Link is just being a dick, but really, Link is just looking out for Vic and is trying to make sure that he doesn't get murdered because Link is also an underboss. He knows what it's like to be in Vic's position. And that is something that plays into the finale of this episode. And we see as well Vic's unrelenting devotion and loyalty to Oz is truly on display in this episode. And Renzi Feliz does such a great job playing Vic and playing this super loyal person, and it doesn't matter what Oz does, what he says, it doesn't matter the circumstance, Vic is always going to be there to help Oz. And again, that is something that plays into the finale. So Oz has been captured by Sofia. He's at the jazz club where he was supposed to be murdered by his mother. And Sofia is there with Dr. Rush, and she tells this story about these birds that she saw when she was hanging out with her brother Alberto when they were younger. She tells the story about there was this little bird that was just weak, and the bigger bird was always getting fed by the mother bird. And Sofia felt really bad for this baby bird, this little baby bird. But one day when this mother bird went away, this baby bird attacked the bigger bird and killed him. And Sophia's like, you know what the craziest thing though was? When the mother bird came back, you know what she did? Nothing. And obviously this is a story that's supposed to relate to what's happening between Oz and his mother. And Sofia tries to get Oz to confess his crimes, to confess that he killed his brothers. And this is just amazing scene work from everyone. Oz is basically having a panic attack. He doesn't want anything to happen to Fran. Fran is just, she's at the end of her rope. Sofia is just at Oz and is trying to get him to confess. And watching Cristin Milioti's face every time Oz denies his crimes, she is absolutely disgusted and confused. She's like, why can't you just confess? Why can't you and your mother just admit the truth between the two of you? This is a scene of pure psychological torture. Sofia confesses that yes, Fran knows about all of this, and she actually had planned to have Rex Calabrese kill Oz at this jazz club. Sofia is just trying to get Oz to tell the truth. He completely denies. He continues to deny. And Sofia's like, okay, fuck this. She pulls out a cigar cutter, tosses it to Dr. Rush, who's totally in on all of this, and is like, which finger of my brother's did you cut off? Oh, it was the right. So Thea Rossi has the cigar cutter on Fran's right pinky finger. And Sofia's like, just tell the truth and we won't cut her finger off. Just be honest for once in your life. And this scene is just absolutely fantastic. Sofia goes to Fran and she's like, look, you have the right to know the truth, to hear the truth from your son, and you have the right to feel angry and heartbroken about it and to hate your son. Just tell the truth. Just be honest with each other. Fran spits in Sofia's face. Oz's reaction is hilarious. And again, this is just Colin Farrell just being fantastic as Oz. But Sofia and Dr. Rush has that cigar cutter on Fran's finger and he's cutting into it. And Sofia's just like, Oz, tell the truth. And Fran is done. She's like, you coward, just tell the truth. I already know. I know. And we see it, that the psychological revenge that Sofia has planned with Oz is almost complete because we have Fran just breaking down at this point. Oz tries to gaslight his own mother. He's like, oh, you're confused. It's your disease. And Fran is like, fuck you. I know what you did. I wanted to kill you. I wish I had killed you. Cristin Milioti, while all of this is going on, is hilarious. She's looking at Oz. She is completely disgusted by him. She cannot believe that he even gaslights his own mother who has dementia. She's like, what kind of a person are you? And Fran is completely heartbroken. She's like, Oz, I had enough love to give to all three of you. I had enough love to give to you and to your brothers. Why did you do what you did? They were my babies. They were my sons. They were your brothers. Why would you do this? And she's like, I've had enough of you. You're a waste of space. I should have let Rex kill you when I had the chance. And she breaks a bottle and stabs Oz in the gut. I didn't see this coming. I was like, oh shit. And when that happens, Fran has a hallucination. It's like her dementia really starts to take hold of her. She has a hallucination where she sees her sons just dripping wet, like they just came out of the sewer. And she's like, I see you, and everything fades. And you can tell she's like having a heart attack or a stroke or something. She begins to like convulse once and she just collapses. And that's it. And Oz loses his shit. His adrenaline goes to 100. He breaks out of the seat that he is in and fights off two henchmen, gets his mom, and is able to escape. That scene was absolutely intense and insane and is one of the best little bits of television I have seen all year. We get that drophead private investigator that Sofia hired. He gets shot in the back of the head right into the camera. That was hilarious. And Oz takes Fran to the hospital and he's like, just do whatever you can. And Oz, obviously, he still has his stomach injury as well. He's covering it up with his vest. And I'm watching all of this and I'm like, I know this is not going to end well. And this show is on one. You think of the absolute worst case scenario that could happen to a character, and then this show just takes it and multiplies it by 1,000. So Oz is able to get a hold of Vic. Vic goes to the hospital. He catches Oz stapling his wounds, his stomach wounds, and is like, hey, I am so sorry. I tried to get everyone on your side, but they don't want any part of you anymore. And Oz is like, I understand. All the drugs are gone. I don't have anything left to give them. And Vic gets on this soapbox and is like, what are you talking about? This is more than bliss. You gave Crown Point dignity. You got the power on. You gave people jobs. You need to get up and remember who you are. You're Oz Cobb, man. You gotta formulate a plan. You gotta be you. You can see the twinkle in Oz's eye that he is so proud of Vic, that he is standing up for himself. And Oz is like, you practiced that, didn't you? And Vic is like, shut up. It's a great little scene between Colin Farrell and Renzi Feliz. Again, just great scene where great acting and directing between the two of them. Now, Sofia plans to skip town. She is done with the life of crime. She is done with the Falcone family. She just wants to leave. So she calls a meeting with the rest of the crime families at the Giganti compound. And she is like, I'm leaving. And whoever wants what's left can have it. All you have to do is catch Oz. Take him, and all of this is yours. Now, Link, the underboss for the Triads, is a little skeptical. And he's like, this can't be real. Why would you just leave all of this behind? And Sofia, because she is a person of privilege, is like, well, because I can. And again, can I just say, for the record, Cristin Milioti is fucking amazing in this show. Now, Link calls Vic up and is like, hey, Sofia is planning something, and I think you're right, something is going down. You're with Oz, he's alive, right? We need to figure something out. Now, at first, I'm watching this scene and I'm like, man, this could be a trap. There's something a little off here. But the next scene is great. Oz meets with Councilman Sebastian Haiti, the same councilman whose nose he almost destroyed and got to turn the power back on at Crown Point. And he's basically in the mayor's chambers. And the councilman is in there. It's like, what are you doing in here? If I catch you in here, if anyone catches you in here, I'm going to be in trouble. Oz takes the gavel, pounds it, shuts him up. It's like, hey, this shit works. So Oz sets it up and spills the beans to this councilman. Is like, listen, I know what's going on with this bomb that went down. Sofia Falcone went crazy. Her brother was killed by the Maronis. She decided to blow up the Maronis' entire drug operation, which was underground. And the Maronis are dead, including Sal. When the police go down there, they're going to find a bunch of bodies of Falcones and Maronis. They're going to find Sal Maroni's body down there. And you have a story. This city is going to want to find someone to hate. That could be Sofia Falcone. At the same time, the city is going to look for someone to love. That could be you, Councilman, if you're the one that brings all of this to light. This obviously sounds too good to be true for the councilman, and he's like, what do you want in return? And Oz is like, well, introduce me to some of your politician friends. It'd be nice to meet Mayor Real. It would be nice to be in the political circle that you're in and introduce me to some of your friends. Of course, the councilman's like, well, in order for all of this to happen, you need to clean yourself up. And Oz is like, hey, bet. We'll get that done. And it's so clear that the one difference between Oz and a lot of the other crime families is Oz knows how to play the game politically. We got all these other crime families, but they're just thinking small time in terms of just doing their crime and just surviving in Gotham. But Oz is really thinking about the big picture and doesn't want to be just a crime lord. He wants to be the one holding the strings. Oz then gets outside of City Hall and he is kidnapped by the Triads. They call Sofia up to let them know that they have him hostage. And Sofia's like, hey, I will meet you at the hangar of the airport where I am leaving. And she decides that she is going to burn everything down. We get a great montage to a cover of Where Did You Sleep Last Night. I know everyone knows that as Nirvana's song. Nirvana popularized that song, but I have to just say, hey, give respect to Leadbelly because he is the one who wrote it. But Sofia burns down the entire Falcone compound, and it is great. And you could just see the glee and the joy Sofia has while she's just absolutely destroying everything. It sort of reminds me of the final scene in Saltburn where Barry Keoghan is dancing around the house all naked, knowing that he got everything that he ever wanted. So the next scene is at the hangar of this airport where it seems like Oz is dead to rights. It seems like he is captured. But Oz and Sofia share a look, and when I see it, I know what's happening. And Sofia knows what's happening. We get a major double cross. Link shoots Zhao, the leader of the Triads, in the head, and all of the underbosses there. They double cross everyone, and Oz has the upper hand once more. And he says, hey, Sofia, let's go for a drive, just like old times. So Oz is driving Sofia around Gotham, and Sofia is completely forlorn. She knows she's cooked. She knows she's dead. And she's like, obviously you offered Link something. What did you give him? And Oz was like, I gave him what you could not, a shot. I gave all of the underbosses a shot. And then we get this montage that is so reminiscent of the end of Francis Ford Coppola's Godfather, where we get all of the underbosses from all of the crime families killing all of their leaders, and they're the ones that are now taking the power, and Oz is basically consolidating all of this power under him. But Sofia at this point knows that it's the end for her, and she's like, okay, so Oswald Cobb, man of the people, that's what you need to believe, right? At the same time, we are seeing Oz's hypocrisy on full display as he calls Sofia someone that is sick, and she is someone that's going to go to hell. And Sofia's like, yeah, I'll save a seat for you. Oz has her turn around at the edge of a pier. It looks like he's going to execute her. But then the lights come out, the police show up, and they arrest her. We see that Oz's full plan is complete because, yeah, he has to get Sofia to take the fall for that big grand explosion. And it's funny because it is the one time that Oz was sort of honest with that councilman to get Sofia arrested, and the worst thing possible happens to Sofia. You would think her dying would be the worst thing, but actually her being taken back to Arkham. Oh God, what a tragedy for this character. So Oz arrives back at the hospital. He wants to celebrate. He goes to the room where his mother is. And Oz is like, look, Ma, look what I did. I got these guys to spill the beans. I beat everyone. I won. I'm the king of the city. But he doesn't realize that Fran is a vegetable. A nurse comes in. She says, hey, she suffered a stroke and she is now in a vegetative state. And Oz loses his shit. He tries to get a doctor in there. Nothing is going to work, and Oz is just losing his mind. And again, we're seeing some great acting from Colin Farrell as he is just absolutely devastated. He wants his mom to just say, just tell me you're proud of me. Tell me I did a good job. All Oz has ever wanted was the approval of his mother, and he can't even get that. He has won the battle of these crime lords. But at the end, he loses his mom. He loses her on an emotional level. He loses her on a physical level. He loses her in so many ways. At the end of the day, Oz needs some sort of vindication that he isn't the monster that he himself knows he is, and his mother was the only person that was vindicating all of his actions, but now she hates him. All the masks are off. All the gloves are off. He knows that she hates him, and he has to live with that. So the next scene is Oz and Vic looking out into Gotham City, and Vic is like, I know you did the best you could with your mom. Oz is like, do you think she'll ever forgive me? And Vic is like, for what? And you realize that Vic does not know what Oz did with his mother. He doesn't know any of the background. He doesn't know any of the drama with his mother. He doesn't know any of that. And we see that Vic is so grateful for all the opportunities that Oz has given him. And Vic is like, hey man, you are family to me. And Oz is like, and when he did that, I knew what was coming. I didn't want it, but I knew. Oz puts his arm around Vic and is like, Vic, you are amazing. I couldn't have done this without you, but this is as far as I can take you. And Vic's like, what do you mean? Vic knows everything about Oz. He's been with Oz for all of his highs and all of his lows. And at the same time, Vic has served his purpose. Oz is at the top. And at the same time, once Vic revealed himself to be as family to Oz, that was really the final nail in the coffin. As Oz says, family is his strength and it is also his weakness, and he cannot continue being the king of Gotham with any other weaknesses, and he begins to choke Vic out. And this scene is so unbelievably heartbreaking. Vic is so confused. He was loyal to Oz all the way to killing people for him. and Oz repays him with death. And it's so crazy when you think about the first time that Oz and Vic met with each other. Oz was going to murder Vic after he had killed Alberto Falcone. And Vic was like, no, I can be useful for you. I can be useful for you. And Oz took that and he ran with that all the way to his logical conclusion until Vic was no longer needed. And yeah, the last words that Vic hears before he dies is, "You're a good man, Vic." Asshole. And we have a show that follows a villain, and he is not an anti-hero. He is a straight up villain. Oz can go fuck himself. He smiles after killing Vic, the smile on his face knowing that he just tied up that last loose end. And you can see that Oz now has everything under control, or at least it seems like it. And Colin Farrell is just absolutely tremendous. And the dichotomy, the duality of this character, of the Penguin, is just so amazingly displayed by Colin Farrell. He just does such an outstanding job of showing us a character who is truly detestable and irredeemable, but still has emotions like he's a human being, but he's a psychopath. This is an absolutely brilliant performance. So the next scene is at Arkham, and Sofia is in her cell. She has totally checked out. Theo Rossi is there. He has his job back. And again, it looks like we got our control or power dynamics with him being the doctor over her. But he comes in and is like, hey, you know, you got your mail. It's all kind of the same kind of stuff, including some people that are asking to marry her. I mean, Sofia Giganti can get it, so I understand. But he's like, there is one letter, though, that I think you should read. It's from a Selena Kyle, who claims she is your half-sister. So that perks Sofia up, and this is the scene that if I'm going to give Cristin Milioti an Emmy, it's this moment here. She gives an absolutely brilliant wordless performance reading this letter. And you can see the joy on her face and the comfort she gets knowing that there is someone else in this family that has her back. Because clearly, Selena knows that the hangman was Carmine Falcone and that Sofia is in Arkham because she is in a circumstance that is completely out of her control. So she gets this letter, and it's just a great performance. And we're seeing all of the building blocks that is leading towards the Batman 2. But finally, we get Oz, and he's in his full penguin form. He has his top hat and his cape. He has his purple car with his rims. He has his penthouse in Crown Point, as he promised his mom. His mom, Fran, is in a room by herself, and I'm going to go back to saying this show talks about the worst case scenarios, and Fran made Oz promise that if she ever gets to a vegetative state, that Oz would kill her. He would do assisted suicide. Oz promised, but Oz is a lying sack of shit. Oz would rather keep his mother as a vegetative hostage than give her what she wants to give her any sense of peace. Oz Cobb, the Penguin, is one of the most vile, detestable characters ever on television. Then we get that final scene, and it is just the ultimate gut punch. We get Eve, and she is dressed up in Oz's mom's dress. The same dress that she wore when they were supposed to go to that jazz club. And Oz is dressed up and they have a dance together. And Oz is like, tell me you're proud of me. And she's like, I'm so proud of you. Tell me I did a good job. Baby, you did a good job. And you can see the Oedipus complex that Oz has has taken full form. And it's like Eve is doing this motherly cosplay, this role play. It is so disturbing and so insane, but it tracks with Oz because this is exactly who he is. He has mother issues to the point that I think he's sexually attracted to her now. That's the final conclusion that I'm coming to. But yeah, this show ends. We get the bat signal hanging in the background as we pull out. And man, this show is fire. And you know, I love the Batman 2022. I think it's one of the best Batman movies out there. I'm a big defender of this movie. But this show blows this movie out of the water. But it also recontextualizes this film. This does what Cobra Kai does for the Karate Kid movies, and what I hope Dune Prophecy will do for the Denis Villeneuve Dune films. It recontextualizes and reshapes what we know about the Matt Reeves Batman universe. It reshapes what we thought we knew about Oz Cobb, about the Penguin, about crime in Gotham. It reshapes all of that. So I'm going to end up going back watching The Batman now that this is done, just to kind of catch clues and hints about this character and this world. So this episode, it was just the climax to an absolutely brilliant season of television. This episode is a prestige. If I was going to give a rating for the entire season of The Penguin, it would be a prestige. Every episode hit, every episode slapped and slapped hard. The performances from everyone was amazing. Again, Colin Farrell was just on one. He needs to get an Emmy nomination. Same with Cristin Milioti. She was absolutely outstanding. But Clancy Brown was great as well. Renzi Feliz, Deidre O'Connor. I mean, all the cast in this show was absolutely amazing. I love the direction of this show. It kept the same aesthetic of the Matt Reeves Batman, so nothing felt out of place. You know, we were able to get some mild cameos from other characters from the universe to kind of keep everything connected. The writing for this show was great. The music for this show was great. The editing for this show was fantastic. The only thing that I hope is that there is a season 2 of this show. And if there is not, what I hope is that we just get a further expansion of the Matt Reeves Batman universe. Give us another origin story of another villain, or let's follow the Gotham Police Department. I know we were supposed to get that Gotham show. Put it back on the table, man. I want to see it now. Give Selena Kyle a show. Give Zoe Kravitz a show about Catwoman. I don't care. But give us more of this Matt Reeves Batman universe. I loved this show. I hope we get more of it. If we don't, all I hope is that it gets the recognition that it deserves. I knew it was going to be good. I didn't realize that it was going to be great. And this show is great. In a year that Cobra Kai, my favorite show, is out, I have to say The Penguin is the best show on television. See it, catch it as soon as you can. But those are my immediate thoughts and feelings on episode 8 of season 1 of The Penguin. What did you guys think of the episode? Share your thoughts, leave your comments, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so you can get notifications as well. Thanks a lot, everyone. Take care.